Hey, welcome back to my greatest Tony Chronicles, specifically Adventures. Last time we got near the end of the trial of the Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. We were able to prove that, what's his name, Rolly Beat, was responsible for moving the body, which means that it was plausible that the knife thrown by Mrs. Garadeb was what did in the victim, and now we're cross-examining the Garadeb couple to determine the ultimate truth here.
Yep.
Okay, I read this testimony last time.
Yeah, we did.
Reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe.
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garadeb.
Rather passionate note, in fact. Mrs. Garrett found the note discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. That's not the face to have for that, Susato.
Yeah.
Also, why are we assuming
like
he did anything? I thought it was determined, like, you know, that's not his fucking name, so it wasn't him. But
It's just like, you go, girl.
Oh wait, what a sordid state of affairs!
Hell on earth.
I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway.
A likely story.
These waters run very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it?
The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out.
Oh, so she's a firebender. It only burnt his stuff.
A most precarious situation you put yourself in.
Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodgers are always moaning they can't get any water at night. Oh, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe.
Defendant Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man?
I believe he uses all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough.
Even though the room was on fire.
As far as I'm concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw.
This is most certainly not true of a Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How did she know I was thinking that? How did she know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, a garlic, a towel and a sponge, a napkin.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb.
Huh? Don't shoot! Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind?
Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker I seem to recall.
Ouch.
And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every bally— Ah! Good grief, woman! We're not at home now! This is a court of law!
Oh, dear me, I'm so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with a teapot in here?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, hmm?
Your pipe, sir.
Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles she did, yes. When I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage.
I see. Your pipe was broken.
It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now.
Ha! You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? Could be important.
I missed the line because the stream is lagging really badly for me. I wonder what we should make of this account. The fence believes Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be of great significance. This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony.
Indeed. Common sense, one might say.
Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dear me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
Jesus Christ, get over yourself.
Yeah. Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
Alright.
The Pippi.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down.
Oh, no, it's fine. This is Sato-san. We have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully.
Well, thank you for that rebuttal, Mr. Yardeb. Now, if we can return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim?
It was sharp.
We're gonna be like, why didn't you get a new pipe? And it'll be like, because he can't afford it. And then he's like, well, he said he had plenty of knives, so... Right? Like...
Maybe.
There's a chip in it here, too.
A small nick out of the bowl here, look. It appears to have been made relatively recently.
And see how there are little scrapes and dents all over it? It's clearly a well-loved pipe.
Yes, you're right. It's to me recently that being well-loved goes hand in hand with getting some battle scars. This particular nick is catching my eye, though. It's clearly new.
Ah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I freaking knew it. Something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there.
Yes, I saw it. Something's stuck in there, I think.
Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this?
It's
Tiny
a tiny
fragment
fragment of metal.
That'll do.
It looks like the tip of a blade or something. Just the tip.
Just the tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be.
That's right, it's runic tip.
Looks to be a sorry state with that bandage around it, doesn't it? For some reason, it feels slightly ominous to me. It's trying to shout out a warning. Well, because it's the same blue as Mr. Garrett's dressing gown.
I suppose it must have been considerable... I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Garredeb, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this.
Either that or he can't afford to replace it. This is the tiny piece of metal we found in the chamber of Mr. Garredeb's pipe.
It looks like the tip of a blade or something.
Tip of a blade? Don't be crazy.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
I don't really know. Just something niggling. That's a funny word. There's just something niggling me, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
Perhaps in that case, it would be wise to examine some of the other pieces of evidence again?
How do we combine items?
Maybe if we examine the broken tip now. Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just at the tip. Yeah, I think we've seen this part. Okay.
Wait, part of it's missing. I could be wrong, but I've just got a feeling. Remember this?
Ah, that's the tiny fragment of metal that we found inside Mr. Garadeb's pipe.
Listen, just maybe.
Oh my, it's a perfect fit.
Somehow I just knew it.
Okay.
But what is it doing now? Sorry, would you care to elaborate?
Nothing to say, really. Rather partial to a spot of carving, you see. Pipes and whatnot. Fishing tackle, you know the sort of thing.
It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets too. And then there's my leather work.
Sorry to say, we're always losing knives about the place, and we have dozens of the things.
They sell them at the market sometimes, 20 for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snap them up. Fuck. John prefers to use 2 knives at meal times too, instead of a knife and fork.
No, John, we don't want people thinking I'm some kind of savage. Ah!
Here we go again with the scoldings. Why are they being so evasive?
I imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim.
Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still. Go on with your testimony, witness.
Witnesses. Sir!
No, they're one entity. So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife, unless we can produce proof. Even though there is no other credible possibility if Mr. Natsume is innocent. You forget, my Nipponese friend. It has yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. There was some way to know who had handled the knife. Suppose wizardry like that is just a dream.
Perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruhodo.
You mean it's not a dream? That sort of wizardry really exists?
Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern from their skin, or so they say.
I can't see anything. There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Justice.
Yes, I believe we are rapidly approaching an era of scientific methods of investigation.
But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion. That this knife found in the victim's back was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's house.
Alright.
I could transplant this whole incident to several years into the future. It's the extent of the testimony, is it?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I think we heard all this before, to be honest. I can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this testimony.
But in this cross-examination, it's absolutely essential that we establish how this knife came to be at the scene of the incident.
Yes, I know.
I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that it was in fact a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury.
You'll find even a tiny shred of evidence to support that theory. It would clinch this trial for us. It would explain everything.
Yes, it would.
The Sotaki-san's sake, we must. Let's find that last crucial piece of evidence.
I don't know, guys.
Until we didn't find already.
Yeah. Alright, I think it's... You
Here's
can't
the last
prove it's
one.
our knife.
Yeah. It's gonna be the tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Garadeb, could I ask you to take a good look at this, please?
You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing.
You can't?
Used to call me Dead-Eyed Deb back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago now. even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Oh no, it's that one ad that Josh always makes fun of. Is that a B, perhaps? Or maybe a D? P, even? Or maybe a Q?
Oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You must be very dizzy. It's just rude. What is that tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly for the tip of a blade. What may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. Where did the defense come by this evidence? Lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garredup's pipe.
My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there.
And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Consul? Are you suggesting that it is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road?
What? And put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record. Really, this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord.
Ooh. We got him now. We got him now, boys. You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Consul. Very well then. Present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case?
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece of the tip of the blade missing. A common issue with inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones.
And what of this particular knife?
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Incorrect. Bruh.
Jackson. No, that's not the case. Tip of this particular knife's blade. The very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garredup's pipe.
Ah!
Oh!
Good grief! Lord Van Zeeks!
Don't believe it! Knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal. A perfect match!
Good golly gosh! Order! 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 Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he?
Consul, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garredup's pipe?
Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. Useless.
Yep. Useless.
Oh, dearie me.
What the shakes? During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrett had flung this knife at her husband. However, I missed Mr. Garrett, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time. Which caused the tip to break off, of course.
Good lord!
Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade on its way inside Mr. Garredup's pipe.
The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1.
Yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window.
Oh.
In short, this knife, which fell from the window in the Gyarados house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below.
Oh gosh, oh dear, oh! No!
Objection!
Uh-oh.
Drinking again.
And break or throw. No.
A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. Get it? That wasn't an
Catherine.
alcohol pun. Complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Let's say passageable. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his arguments. Sorry, but after all, it is just a theory. Bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... it's spoiled by an insurmountable inconsistency. Insurmountable... What? Did you say I've never heard that word?
Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself! What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified?
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. Why am I not drunk yet? Victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her... in her cloaca.
That's right, you silly little man.
Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about?
Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. Victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and fallen to the ground.
I got this.
The knife that struck her had fallen from below.
Above.
Oh, definitely below. There's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back.
Okay, have you considered that baby got back?
Order! Order! Quite right, you see? That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head.
Will it hurt victim top of her head?
Well,
This one's easy. Come on.
lost for words.
I never liked this.
I knew it. I knew it in the first
I don't
place.
know though. What really did happen?
I'm still in death.
What? I don't have any fucking ears.
It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder.
The theory has even one inconsistency. It cannot stand. The theory, my learned friend, is history.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
What?
It was so close. I could see the truth.
Come on, Ryunosuke.
I was so sure we were on the right track. Now the way has been blocked completely. Just one simple inconsistency.
Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency and the theory will stand.
Mr. Sato, why didn't I think of that?
Susato's fucking base.
Yeah.
Like, I already liked Maya and she was helpful sometimes, but Susato's constantly like, no, we got this, come on. Like,
Yeah, actually, yeah, honestly.
Just Ryunosuke's life coach.
yeah.
Yeah.
You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all, and your mind went blank. But if the path you are on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there.
Ah. Seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. Tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
Objection.
Okay.
Did he object from that pose?
Apparently.
It's inconsistency. I didn't get to finish that line.
Doesn't mean that I'm not on the right track.
It means I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. I didn't study. Yes.
Yeah.
The knife fell on the victim from above. There's no way it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying?
My equine friend.
Counsel.
There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. It can explain how the knife fell from above. How the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. Already have the answer.
Good goodness.
Utter madness.
Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
It's the last inconsistency. Final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. Evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is...
The book. Yep.
It's
Get nay-nay.
the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book. It's the burnt box!
Is that not Mr. Garadev's book?
I like this pursuit theme.
Yeah.
To understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place.
Hang on. Oh, I can't turn it up.
Sad.
Yeah, they might be able to turn it up in Elgato. No, I think they just made it louder in the video, but not for us. Damn.
Oh,
Alright.
damn.
This photographic print clearly shows the book in question. The victim holding it in her hand. As we all know now know, was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
I think I could turn up OBS to make it work, but yeah. I think that would also adjust the audio.
I increased the volume on my own end.
Okay.
Quite so. As part of the wholesale transplanting of the crime scene, to the opposite side of the road.
That's true. However, part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. Was extremely enlightened.
Why'd you put it in hand? It was already in there.
In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. Clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, if I should say so. If being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything.
The question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand?
By Jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me! Oh, dearie me!
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garadeb household onto the pavement below. Precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment, the young woman was walking along the street in the light fog. All of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw!
Never look a gift book in the...
Butthole.
Yes, Mrs. Garadeb. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? I'd take a big shit on it.
Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up.
She's so cute. Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh heavens!
When the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. And in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, next object fell from the room above, jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. That same time, and by chance directly behind the screen, the defendant, Mr. Stoseki Natsume.
Well, I never.
Appeared to Mr. Natsume. The woman simply collapsed on the floor. The dark and the fog. He didn't see the knife falling on her from above.
Oh.
From the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. Stick.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can now.
There we go.
Oh, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident.
Well,
That, the real truth behind this case. That is how. Okay,
yes.
Brussels. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb?
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wonder if perhaps it might have been something like that.
There, old bean. Poor Mrs. Garadeb.
Were we supposed to feel sorry for her?
Yeah. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. As my anger gets the better of me, I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John, dear.
It's alright, I know.
I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry. We did it.
Oh.
It was a bad day to forget pants.
Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Garadeb?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
And the death of a woman, that's not a tragedy.
Well, for one thing, she's not dead, and for another thing, the tragedy that didn't happen is Soseki getting executed over nothing. That's what he's referring to.
Maybe I forgot she wasn't dead.
Oh.
There is some good news, however, my lord. I've just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Condition is improving steadily. The doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon.
Oh, good.
Comma splice! Literally unplayable!
What?
Comma splice!
Oh. Yeah.
Strange,
okay.
we've been talking about the victim all this time, but we'd never once met her.
It's strange, and we've been talking about the victim all this time, are two different clauses. There
Yeah.
shouldn't be a comma between them.
Okay.
And we've been talking about the victim as not a subordinate clause.
I mean,
It's technically incorrect. It's technically incorrect. It should be a semicolon or a full stop. How wonderful.
Yeah.
The woman is out of danger, it seems.
Okay, but consider this. Shut the fuck up. Yes, that is good news.
So, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Still in this case? Yes.
On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I'd like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and you have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
Oh, it is me who should be begging your pardon. Why? No, Mr. Natsume. The evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes. I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
You just
Stack.
Something happened to your mic again, or whatever it was.
Stack is a fuck.
I don't want to have to edit this.
Oh no. Stack?
Am I here now?
Yeah.
There we go.
I was sure that the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable Beats said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too.
I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Oh, Soseki-san, imagination really has got the better of him.
Yes, poor man.
Oh, god damn it. There we
Yeah,
go.
we can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
This is really annoying. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. That's a thing, I guess. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have gone for help. Or after. For the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I'm truly sorry.
One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Ziese, a young lawyer here from the east. That chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Don't encourage his delusions, sir.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Yes, my lord.
in concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
Guilty. As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion. Because she admitted her crime.
I do declare the can be extremely cruel at times.
Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know, but I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time.
You say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman!
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
I want to hear
Oh, boy.
the old man's version of what he thinks happened.
Yay.
Lol. Very well. Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you
Man and wife.
Gay.
not guilty! Hooray! Confetti!
Is Betty invented at this point?
Yeah, I think
I
we
think
looked
we looked it up.
Okay.
Or it was like,
it's-
within.
Yeah, it's borderline, but it's fine.
I think.
Yeah. And finally, Mr. Natsume,
Oh, yes, yes, Lord, sir.
you are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
This shit, I'm out. Oh, yes, sir. Of course. In my life, I swear I'll never set foot in the courtroom again. I'm... What 2 tears.
Thank you, consuls. Court is adjourned.
Yay!
Yeah, the case is almost done, right?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of wrap up.
Yep.
Oh, locum.
You mean me?
Of course. There another locum here?
Even one.
Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name?
Oh, at last! I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Happy, hearty, happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted.
Would it be so hard to just to say that then?
Locum, you did it! Save me from the brink!
Oh, what happened to the poor woman who was in no... What happened to the poor woman? It was in no way your fault.
After all.
I'm just glad everyone can see that now.
Oh, no, not that! Lovely, loyal, locum, lawyer!
Yes?
I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners, I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me laughing, look at that little hunchback.
Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume.
Today, you, locum lawyer, gave my gloom to boot. You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. When I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold, the best barrister ever born!"
Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you.
It has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan.
An anecdote? Is that what's become of all my hard work?
Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you. I see I'm here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh. The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck.
It's just finished.
What? No, then my haste was in vain?
Ah! It's you! Herr Luxjones!
Oh, have we met, sir? This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Shums. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light.
Charming. Good.
This is all your fault, Herr Luxjones. For the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind.
My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Had she been taken to hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
I feel very badly about how I behaved.
Well, never mind. Now then, what was it you wanted to say to me, sir?
Nothing.
Priceless! Oh, I am sorry, really, but that was quite priceless.
Oh, Soseki-san.
Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty.
I mean, you weren't there.
There is no bright side.
Oh, whatever you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper.
Ah, Lord Van Zeeks.
Haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. But if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed.
It'll be all right. It'll all be all right, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Hi-ya! With a perfectly executed Susato takedown.
Just I like being turned on my head. A bit of warning might be nice next time, Mr. Sato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan.
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh.
It's already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. Visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. Learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
That's very touching, Mr. Natsume. Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse?
That's not it at all! The more I learn of the truth, the more strange this feeling claws at my insides. Or this... I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own.
Oh, I see. Work of literature by Soseki-san. Could be an interesting read. Get it?
Get it?
And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry, what about us?
Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot?
Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London, and only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet. And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not?
Right. We need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well, then. Could take my lodgings.
Oh, the windowless room?
Ah, but what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls, and also a gas leak.
Great.
Of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
Yes, it should suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call.
I'll think about it, if that's all right.
Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? Really? Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself, though it is up in the attic, I might add.
Are you sure it isn't just a strange storage loft? Strange.
I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of. Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to taking lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then.
And then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist.
Isn't she like 7?
10.
Close enough.
10-year-olds
You
can
shouldn't let
cook.
the child cook. I guess, but don't trust them.
I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes.
Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy. Only this guy.
Locum. I knew you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. Shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon.
Oh, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, Mr. Sholmes.
I have little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening.
And so, Kosugi-san's innocence successfully established. We rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. We met the great mouse detective. So this
Is to be our new office, yes.
our office. Rather like the sound of that.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. Only a small step. I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now.
So, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
Oh. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much.
I heard that reaction steak.
Didn't expect him to become pretty.
That gay little noise. Oh. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it. Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
Hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. Eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. You're a lot to celebrate.
Iris, you must let me help you.
All right then. Susie, can be in charge of the salad.
Splendid. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel? To to have your own office in the capital. Oh no.
Waiting.
Oh no, the times are happening again.
Oh no. Oh jeez, Rick.
No, come on, we're right at the end.
We're right at the end, please.
I'm not editing this. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do I exist?
Yes.
Yes.
Very
Please.
exciting. It's very exciting, actually. Can't help wonder what adventures await us.
Those are precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is.
Sorry.
London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows.
Shadows? What do you mean?
Well, I believe you're all...
Like hedgehogs?
I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London. No! No! Oh, I hear
There
you.
we go.
Ah!
Go on.
Of course, at
Go.
the time. I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke, but it wasn't long before my turn came. As did I. To lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it.
The River Thames is fucking filthy.
The great stink. Alright, I need to go.
Okay.
Sorry. Wait, shit. Yeah, next time.
Almost done with part 1, but we just landed.
Oh yeah, we have to go back around to save number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Next time, the adventure of the unspeakable story. See you then.
But then how will we
Yeah.
read it if we can't speak it?
Hoo, 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 hoo.